Welcome to the International Volleyball Academy, where successful international coach Zdeněk Haník and professional volleyball player Helena Grosser teach you how to play volleyball. We have completed the training of all volleyball skills that you should master by the age of 14.
We have learned to set, dig, spike, block and receive, as well as start the game with a serve. However, volleyball is primarily a game where you must react to changing situations. To reach this level of high-performance volleyball, we must progress through different age stages.
To ensure we have enough children interested in volleyball, we need to spark their interest in the game and make them enjoy playing it. We must show them that volleyball isn't just about endless drilling of proper techniques, but primarily that it is a fun and exciting game.
Here in the Czech Republic, we launched a major volleyball project in 2011 aimed at showing young children the beauty of the game even without top-level volleyball techniques. The project is called Minivolleybal in Colors, and it focuses on children aged 6 to 12. In today's episode, we will introduce this project.
Yellow Mini Volleyball is designed for children aged 6 to 8. The ball is caught and passed to a teammate by throwing it with both hands or one hand. The teammate catches the ball and then throws it over the net with either one hand or both hands. Although the rules don't require it, it's in your best interest to encourage the child to throw with one hand.
The rules indicate that the main requirements for a child are the ability to throw, catch, estimate the trajectory of the ball and navigate the court. At this stage, the child doesn't need much more except for learning to set with their fingers, which we will cover shortly. We don't intend to replace school physical education or describe the methodology for practicing throwing and catching.
What is purely volleyball related, however, is the ability to estimate the trajectory of the ball and navigate the court. These skills are best learned through game experience, by playing. Let's review the basic rules and requirements for the child. The game is played in pairs on a 4.5 x 9 meter court, divided by a net at a height of 195 centimeters. It is played for a set time, usually with a lightweight ball. Running with the ball is not allowed.
A child's first contact with volleyball as a game happens through yellow, and then orange mini volleyball, which we'll now move on to discuss.
It is designed for children aged 7 to 9. In this format, the ball is caught and then passed to a teammate by playing it overhead after a self-toss. The teammate catches the ball and then passes it with their fingers after a self-toss over the net. Gradually, the child should learn to pass the ball directly over the net without catching it. The game starts with a throw or a finger pass. Beginners are allowed to start closer to the net. The game is played in pairs on a 4.5 by 9 meter court, divided by a net at a height of 195 centimeters, the same as in the yellow format. The game is also played with a time limit, usually with a lightweight ball. Running with the ball is not allowed, as we already know.
This form is still quite distant from actual volleyball. The priority remains the same as in yellow mini volleyball, court orientation and estimating the ball's trajectory. However, there is a new element introduced, basic passing. At this stage, the focus is not on technique, but on familiarizing the child with the fundamental principle of volleyball, that the player has only one touch available.
When starting the game with a one-handed throw, children begin to experience the feeling of an overhand serve, which will come soon. Especially among boys, we can already see the basics of tactical play, such as looking for open spaces on the opponent's court and using deceptive moves. For example, players might intentionally look away from the spot where they will eventually play the ball.
Of course, mistakes will occur, but children must not lose their courage to try new things. Volleyball cannot be played with fear and apprehension. Especially at this stage, When children are forming their attitude towards the game and sports in general, it's crucial to encourage them to keep trying and learning.
And now we move on to red mini volleyball. An 8-year-old child learns to set with their fingers while playing orange. And most importantly, red mini volleyball. Experience shows that there was initially the greatest resistance to red mini volleyball because it doesn't allow the use of digging, and children often prefer to handle all complex situations with a dig. We don't want that. A red mini volleyball is not designed to prioritize setting over digging. It is here to force the child to move correctly under the ball, which the rules of the game require. Let's review those rules.
It is designed for children aged 8 to 10. The game is played in pairs on a 4.5 by 9 meter court, divided by a net at a height of 220 centimeters. It is played for a set time with a lightweight ball. The game starts with an overhead play, underhand or overhand hit with one hand. Beginners are allowed to start closer to the net. Both teammates must participate in the play, and for the first and second contacts, the ball must be played with the fingers or one hand. It is allowed to use a finger pass above the head for these contacts. On the third contact, a finger pass is not allowed, and the ball must be played directly with the fingers or overhand across the net.
The technique of setting is important, just like any other skill, but in red mini volleyball, it has a different significance. Playing with the fingers and the prohibition of bump forces children to naturally position themselves under the ball. Coaches often ask, how do we teach children to properly use their legs when moving under the ball? We have a clear answer for them. Red mini volleyball.
Of course, we thoroughly focus on the technique of setting during training. Remember, we covered it in the first and second parts. But don't lose patience if the technique doesn't immediately translate into gameplay. It takes time. Be consistent in training and tolerant in games. You'll see, everything will eventually come together correctly.
Red mini volleyball is therefore a significant milestone in a child's development, as it represents a true volleyball game where catching the ball is no longer allowed, unlike yellow and orange mini volleyball. Even professionals enjoy playing various versions of this game, especially as part of their warm-up routines. As seen in previous footage, children start rallies with both underhand and overhand serves. Of course, we prefer the overhand serve as it develops another important volleyball skill. However, we consider red mini volleyball to be one of the most crucial stages in a child's development, as successfully navigating this phase fosters a positive attitude towards volleyball. Moreover, it enhances a player's ability to move around the court much more effectively than training alone.
When the game is successfully developed, as in this case, you can see that many rallies involve multiple net crossings, providing children with a genuine experience of playing volleyball, and it is enjoyable to watch. Before we get to the final recap, it's important to emphasize one more thing. We do not promote red mini volleyball without bump to limit the use of the bump. On the contrary, we fully focus on the technique of bump in training, as shown in parts 3 and 4, and we also play preparatory games involving the bump, as seen in part 11. However, as this episode has indicated, red mini volleyball is a crucial element in developing a player's movement around the court. Now, let's recap the entire episode.
Yellow mini volleyball is designed for children aged 6 to 8. The ball is caught and passed to a teammate by throwing it with both hands or one hand. The teammate catches the ball and then throws it over the net with either one hand or both hands. Orange mini volleyball is designed for children aged 7 to 9. In this version, the ball is caught and passed with the fingers after a self-toss. The teammate catches the ball and then plays it with the fingers after a self-toss over the net. Red mini volleyball is designed for children aged 8 to 10. For the first and second contacts, the ball is played with the fingers or one hand. A finger pass above the head is allowed. On the third contact, a finger pass is required, and the ball must be played directly with the fingers or overhand across the net. Playing with the fingers and the prohibition of bump force children to naturally position themselves under the ball. Red mini volleyball without digging does not mean neglecting the development of digging skills and training.
What's next? In the next episode, we will explore green and blue mini volleyball, marking the transition to 6-player volleyball for the younger age category, specifically U14. Stay tuned.